feel like I look really tan today. Hola, bienvenidos. What's good? Hi, guys. So as you guys can see from the title today, we are gonna share with you guys, as in I, will be sharing with you guys how many pans I have in my collection. I wanted to do an updated video. I would do these often every so many months, and then recently as I was cleaning this room, organizing, my oldest is getting into makeup, so she ended up taking quite a few of my eyeshadow palettes, and I realized that my list of pans has dwindled. A lot of the palettes that had pan are no longer in my collection, whether they got decluttered back in the holiday season, earlier this year, throughout the year, or recently. I don't have as many pans as I used to. I'm gonna have to recalculate my percentage. Guys, it's not that big. It's not that big. And I typically do all of my pans as far as anything that is in a palette form, whether it's a duo, a trio, a quint, a quad, or an actual eyeshadow palette. I have them all laid out here and it's not much. It's not much. So I'm gonna have to hustle because this year has been really bad at me hitting pan too. So if you're interested to see how much pan is left in my collection, stay tuned. Okay, I should clarify this. I only really keep tallies of pan in eyeshadow palettes because that is my biggest category in my collection. That is the category that I try to at least keep myself in check to see how much I'm using my palette. Now, what I've been doing this year specifically, not that you're here to hear for it, but I'm gonna tell you why. I have been going through my drawers and using as many eyeshadow palettes that I have that have not been used, that are basically brand new, have only been touched once, to really see if I want to keep them or not. And I've been doing that throughout the year on my own, and I'm still doing that. Right now, I'm working on all of my summer palettes, all palettes that I would use in the summertime, to see if I still want to keep them, if there's any repetitiveness in my collection, ones that I just don't care for. I've run across quite a few palettes that I bought because they look nice in the palette, but when I put them on my eyes, I do not like how they look, and they've already gone out of my collection. I've shared those with you guys. So I'm currently doing that. This is the year where I'm doing that, and I am actually doing pretty good with that. So this is most likely the reason why you don't see a lot of pan in my collection. I haven't been concentrating on hitting pan as much as going through my collection to wean out products that I just don't want to use anymore, have gone bad. The formula isn't the best anymore. I found better. I like other things that are better, etc., etc., etc. All right, so in no particular order, we're just gonna start out sharing with you guys my pans that I have in my collection. This is the most recent. I went through every single eyeshadow palette, quad, duo, trio, quint that I own. And I made a list so I can keep track of them because I want to see if going forward I add to this list, or some of these will leave my collection. Yet again, I don't know. All right, first and foremost is this one, the Jungle Lights by Flower Beauty. Recently, I just saw that she released two of them, two new ones. These little puppies are $20 a pop. For 6 eyeshadows, $20 a pop. That is, I don't want to use the word. That's terrible. This is why I rather purchase higher end palettes and I know the quality is good. This drugstore is just no longer that affordable anymore. I'm just saying. So anyway, I have hit pan on this shadow right here. I have shared it in the past, but this one's still staying in my collection. It's Sister, the Desert Lights. I have pan in this shade right here. So obviously these are the two. The two new ones don't interest me, so I'm actually happy I have these two. And I ain't getting any more. I think those are my only, I kid you not, I think those are my only 2 drugstore palettes that I own. I don't think I have many. If you consider ColourPop drugstore, but other than that, I don't have any drugstore eyeshadow palettes. I don't think I do. The other one, this is a recent one of this year. This is the Persona Identity 2 palette. I've hit pan on this one. This is a beautiful palette. I am pretty sure I will be keeping that for a long time. One of my favorites, the Pharaoh palette. This one took me forever to hit pan on. These are very, very deep and very pigmented. I use this all the time, but it doesn't look like I do. But I have hit pan on that palette, so it makes me happy that I do have something in there. Huda Beauty, the new nude palette. The one that I have hit pan on is one that most people wouldn't think that is a pan, but it is. This is the cream shadow. I have yet to finish it, but it is still there. I have tried to hit pan on this one. So I have played around with this palette. It's very difficult to hit pan on certain shadows of hers, but I do have it here and I'm still using it. Oh, there's powder everywhere. Not a good day to wear a white dress. Up next, this is the only Anastasia palette. Yeah, I'm looking through. The only Anastasia palette that has pan in my collection as we speak. This is this shadow right here. A lot of my Anastasia palettes have left my collection this year. So I don't have many of the classics anymore. They're gone. I wasn't using them. I've learned and I have appreciated that if I know somebody that can use them, I'm just gonna get rid of them. I just can't anymore. I can't anymore. Unless I have referenced it in the last year, it really hasn't stayed in my collection. I'm okay with that. Then we have this So Jaded palette. This is one of my favorites still till this day. It is that shadow right here. It took forever. So I know to hit pan again in this palette, it's gonna take me forever, but I'm willing to give myself a challenge. The Naked Tutorials palette by Beauty Bay. I have 2 pans in this palette. I have a pan in this shadow right here and in this shadow right here. I haven't used this palette this year solely because of what I mentioned earlier, that I'm trying to just play around with my new stuff. It's not new that I purchased it this year. It's just been, I bought it and then left it in my drawers because I'm an idiot. So I'm just trying to play around with those to make sure that I want to keep them. And then once my collection has been set to what I want and I know I'm going to use, then I can really expand and play around with whatever I want. More Beauty Bay. This is the new romantic one. This is no longer in existence, but it is beautiful. I have pan in this shadow right here. It is a beautiful palette. I actually like this one a lot. And this is like one of my palettes that I have a lot of reds and things. Hence the reason why other palettes have left my collection that I wasn't reaching for, because this one, I have it all in here. So yeah. Don't fool yourself, guys. I still have hundreds of palettes. It's not like I've dwindled down to like 50 palettes. No. I'm just, compared to what I was 2-3 years ago, my collection has dwindled, I would say, by a good 40%, 30%. A lot has left. Another Beauty Bay. This is the Book of Magic. This one is obviously not in existence. I have 2 pans in this one. So this one's going to hang around too because, again, I don't have many blue palettes. I have since let go of a lot of blue palettes because I don't reach for blue palettes. So this is like one of 3 or 4 blue palettes that I own. I'm good with that. This is the Wilderness one by Beauty Bay. This one I have hit pan on this shadow. This is a beautiful palette. Here's more blues. How much blues can I use? And the last palette that isn't a Z palette that I want to share with you guys is this one. This one and another palette are my oldest palettes in my whole entire collection. I actually looked up the date and I don't want to tell you guys. You can look it up yourselves if you want. This palette is still beautiful and I still love it. This is actually what I'm wearing on my eyes and I've been really rocking it. This is a new pan. You'll see this in my makeup rehab because I haven't shared it with you guys. I have hit pan on this shadow. I've been really working on these 2 shadows here. I have been testing the theory of panning a look to see how I feel about it. This is about my 3rd or 4th time doing this look, and I love it because it just goes with everything that I'm wearing in the summertime, but it could be possibly because of the summertime. I don't know, but I've been really liking this look, and it's just these 2 shadows and this one on my eyes. And this shadow is definitely the reason why I've kept this whole entire 6-pan palette, and I have gone through my collection to see if I've been able to find dupes. I have found a dupe and I don't know, there's something about this shadow that I really like. I realized it's not a bronze that has too much red in it or copper in it or orange. It's more like a golden shade and I think that's why I like it a lot. It's very, very neutral and I think this is why it's a palette that I can't get rid of so much because of it. But my goal is to try to use this as much as possible. The other side has 2 blushes and a bronzer. I've only used the bronzer twice, today being one of those 2 times. I'm trying to get as much use out of this palette because my thought is once this year comes, I'm going to reevaluate whether to keep it or not in my collection because I have gotten quite a bit of use out of it. Now, before, if you saw this was brand new. barely used, but I have been using this a lot. So this one also has pan. Hopefully I'll have at least 2 more pans before I officially decide whether to keep it for next year or let it go. Now the other palettes that I have are Z palettes, but I do want to share those with you guys as well. I have also gone through all of my singles when I have decluttered and have given away singles with Z palettes to individuals that have wanted it. So a lot of my singles are not what they were before. I think I've gotten rid of close to 10 Z palettes worth of singles. I've had a lot. I've had a lot. And one of you guys that watch my videos, thank you so much. You've sent me Z palettes because I ran out of Z palettes. I couldn't find any more Z palettes. I was starting to make my own, which was not very successful. I used to get my Z palettes at Ulta, and Ulta no longer carries Z palettes. So I got stuck. If you saw my Sydney Grace haul, you saw that I had those little ones. Those are my last resorts. I had nothing else, but one of you guys, thank you so much. We're so kind and send some brand new ones over that you weren't using. So you'll see some of them in here. All right, the first one I want to share with you guys. This is my miscellaneous one. This is like, it has Clionadh singles, like the old school singles. I got those in like a mystery bag. Divina, some depotted singles. The only 2 Clionadh singles that I have in square pans, these were like in a mystery box or something. I didn't pick them out myself. But this is the shade that has a pan in it. This is a Napoleon, was it Napoleon? Yeah, a Napoleon one. It's called Hocus Pocus. This is a beautiful shade. I love pairing this with pinks and mauves. It's really pretty. So that's the only pan that I have in this Z palette. Then this one is all Too Faced shadows of either depotted, yeah, I think all of these have been depotted from palettes from previous releases that either I didn't like certain colors, so on and so forth. I have 2 pans in here. I have one in here and obviously the one all the way down here. So I have 2 in here, and these are beautiful. For them being older singles, these are really, really pretty. Then this is a recent one from this year. This is my Ardency Inn and Tarte palette. And I have been able to hit pan on that shadow right there called Whiskey. You guys see, these used to be from Ulta. They no longer have them anymore. They used to look like this. These were the first original ones that they did, and then they upgraded them to these, and then they did those polka dot ones with the white, and then they left. And then last but not least, this is, obviously these are from Sephora Z palettes as well. See, this is where I used to get my Z palettes from. This is my Inglot 01. I have 2 Inglot shadow palettes, and I was able to hit pan on this one, which is obviously a new pan as well. You guys have not seen that one. It will be in my rehab video. So I have that one. And last but not least, the Mama Jamma. Thank you so much for sending these over. These are the palettes. She sent me these colored rain ones, which is good for me because I've kept collections in here. These are all my Makeup Geeks singles, the old school Makeup Geek singles. So this is what they look like. Yes, I used to have a lot more than these guys. And I have in Shimma Shimma. The one, you see how there's one missing right here? Creme Brulee is missing. It is in a quad Z palette that I have because I use it all the time. So that's why you see an empty one in there, because I have that out because I'm trying to hit pan on it and actually use it up if I possibly can. I like these. Thank you very much for sending these over. These are getting very well used, even though it's massive, but I like it because everything is in here. So when I do pan those eyeshadows, it's going to look a little different too. All right, you guys. So if you've kept track, that is 16 palettes in total, including my Z palettes. At the end of this year, I can possibly see 1 palette leaving my collection. It'll just go into the trash. I'm not going to give this to anyone. This one and another palette are by far my oldest palettes that I have in my collection, and I am still debating on what to do with that other one because it is a colorful palette. I do have dupes of it, but I'm going to try to see if I'm going to use it. In the next few months, if I see some use for it, I'll keep it. If not, it is also going to the trash. I'm not giving it to anyone because those are definitely a lot older than some palettes that I have decluttered in the past. By the way, anything that I've decluttered has found a home. Woo woo! I'm so excited about that. So anyway, this is the only palette that you might not see that might leave this list. Other than that, everything else I will be keeping, will be using. Hopefully I will be done this journey by the end of this year, maybe before Christmas time. I'm trying not to buy as many eyeshadow palettes. As you guys know, July was my biggest one of eyeshadow palettes. And I bought 2 Natasha Denona palettes that you guys are well aware of. There are new releases coming out of eyeshadow palettes. I am thinking really hard of what palettes I already have that look very similar, and if I'm even reaching for it or not. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to buy a palette just because it's on trend and then I never reach for it and then it ends up going away. I just wasted my money. So I'm trying really hard. I still love eyeshadow. I'm still an eyeshadow enthusiast. So I'm trying to find a balance. Trying to find a balance of palettes that I know I'm going to love and use and showcase for you guys that are new, but I also don't want to be bombarded by too many eyeshadow palettes and then not getting to them and sharing with you guys on camera the palettes that I have got. All right, you guys, that's all that I have. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know how many pans you guys have. If I do the percentage, I'll put it up on my screen. I do not share my total amount of palettes. Give me a minute as I'm dwindling my collection less and less and less. I may have the courage to do it now. It's just those judgy people that always have to question things, especially my declutters and stuff. It's just, they keep holding me back. So anyway, thank you guys. More videos on the screen for your enjoyment. Until then,